It looks like we have found out who Drew McIntyre will be facing at SummerSlam for the WWE Championship. Now, of course, Drew McIntyre is scheduled to defend the WWE Championship against Dolph Ziggler at Extreme Rules in July, but we all know that Drew McIntyre is leaving Extreme Rules as the WWE Champion. There ain't no way that Drew McIntyre is losing the WWE Championship to Dolph Ziggler, so many people are already speculating who could Drew McIntyre be defending the WWE Championship against at SummerSlam, at the biggest party of the summer, as WWE calls it. Now, Dave Meltzer has confirmed on the Wrestling Observer radio show that Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre is in the works for SummerSlam 2020. He said, quote, "They are growing Randy because the great destination for him is Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton, and I think it will be at SummerSlam," end quote. Now, to me, this is a no-brainer, isn't it? I've been saying this the last few weeks. Randy Orton, for me, right now, is the biggest heel in WWE right now. He is the best heel in WWE right now, without a shadow of a doubt. Randy Orton has, this year, in 2020, been doing his best work in at least 10 or 11 years. Definitely back to his peak heel run in sort of 2009 during that feud with John Cena. I think back of the skinhead psycho Randy Orton era. This is the best work he has done in WWE since then, in the longest time really. And that's not to say Randy Orton hasn't been great the last 10 years, but this is another level. This is the peak Randy Orton we like to see, because this was the problem with Randy Orton. After that heel run in 2009, he just got too popular. His work was too good. He was such a good heel that it became a babyface, and then every time they tried to turn Randy Orton back to being a heel, he was just too loved. He'd gained too much respect from the WWE audience that they didn't want to boo him. And now, after turning on Edge at the start of the year, doing that despicable act, Randy Orton is finally back to being what he is best, and that's this psycho heel character. It's probably, honestly, possibly the best work of his career in WWE at all. I mentioned that run in 2009 and, the DDTing of Stephanie McMahon, kicking all the McMahons in their head, but I would argue that this work is even better than that. I mean, the promos that Randy Orton has done during this Edge feud have been nothing short of phenomenal, easy for me to say. His promos the other week with Christian, they were great. Even the promo this past week on Monday Night Raw with The Big Show, I thought was great. He started calling himself the Legend Killer again. I saw Sean Ross Sapp mention that he should start doing the Legend Killer reunion tour and kicking everyone in the head. I'd be down for that. But Randy Orton has certainly started calling himself the Legend Killer once more. He then, which I love, this is what's so great about Randy Orton at the moment. So he said that he is the Legend Killer, and then he paused and said the Big Show is, and then he paused again and said a legend, and sort of narrowed his eyes. Just like that sort of slimy, slithery, the Viper would. It's just so good. And then he goes to the outside of the ring, because this is a giant after all. He goes to the outside of the ring and then starts to talk trash about how he's coming for the Big Show. Just great. I mean, that is real wrestling psychology right there. That is psychology levels just off of the chart. He is so good at the moment. Nobody is a better heel, psycho, sadistic, venomous heel than Randy Orton. Nobody can touch him in that department in professional wrestling at the moment. Not just WWE, but professional wrestling. Nobody can touch Randy Orton. Now, I think the biggest match that WWE can do on Monday Night Raw right now, with the players that they have in place right now, not factoring the people that are away from WWE or off screen right now, I think the biggest match that WWE can do is Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. And I say that because I'm not even sure who would win that match. Now, I think Drew McIntyre probably should come out of that matchup as the WWE Champion. I've mentioned a million times on this channel and on social media that I think Drew McIntyre needs to win some more. That's without a doubt. You need to strap the rocket to this guy and ride him to the moon, because he is money. He is your big next John Cena level star. He can really be that good. He still has the positive thoughts of the fans, which so many people haven't the last few years. You look back to Roman Reigns, you look back to Seth Rollins in 2019. When they were given the ball, the fans turned on them. Now, I know we don't actually have the fans in the arena at the moment, but if you look at social media, the fans are still with Drew McIntyre. Maybe I'm slightly a little bit off of that because of the British bias, but I still think the fans are with Drew McIntyre, which says how much money Drew McIntyre really is and how valuable he is as a babyface champion to WWE right now. So he needs to win that match, but I think Randy Orton putting over Drew McIntyre in the main event of arguably the second biggest show of the year in SummerSlam would be massive for Drew McIntyre's career and his credibility as the WWE Champion. But without a shadow of a doubt here, there certainly would be an argument for getting the title on Randy Orton. He's been that good, and I don't even think previously if Randy Orton won the WWE Championship, people would roll their eyes and go, oh, look back at WrestleMania 33, right, when he faced Bray Wyatt for the WWE Championship. Randy Orton won the match, and everyone went, really? That was the match he should have put over Bray Wyatt. That was the match he should have made a new star. But I don't think that argument actually lends itself to this scenario, because Randy Orton was okay at that point. He was doing his babyface stuff. His feud with Bray Wyatt going into that was actually pretty good. The story was great, but I don't think the story was there for Randy Orton to come out on top. This one here, it's different. Randy Orton has been that good. This heel run has been that good that, look, if I mentioned about Drew McIntyre being over with crowds, but if we had crowds right now, Randy Orton would be getting the biggest ovations without a doubt when his music hits, whether it would be booing, cheering, or maybe just that wall of noise that the biggest players and the biggest superstars get. And I think Randy Orton would be getting that right now. So there certainly would be an argument of, hey, Randy Orton's been that good, maybe we should put the title on him. I mean, WWE, they're looking for ratings specifically on Monday Night Raw. They want to get back over 2 million viewers. Randy Orton's an established name. Everyone knows Randy Orton. His work is great. His segments are the highest rated at the moment. Maybe that's what WWE looks at. There certainly would be an argument there. I mean, ever since Randy Orton turned on Edge after the Royal Rumble at the start of this year, nobody has been able to touch Randy Orton. I mean, just think of the moments. Think of how great and evil Randy Orton has been in the year of 2020. So he turns on his former best friend, his former partner, Edge, 24 hours after Edge makes a miraculous return after 9 years away from the ring. What does he do? RKO and a concerto to the damaged neck, not once but twice. He then injures Matt Hardy, concerto 1 week, concerto on the steel steps the other week. Matt Hardy's gone from WWE, so much so that he's in AEW right now. Okay, I know people are going to say storyline, right? He then RKO's Beth Phoenix, Edge's wife, on Monday Night Raw. He had the match at WrestleMania. Now, some people will say it went too long, it wasn't great. I don't think it was amazing. I don't think it was bad. Maybe it was too long, but I don't think it was horrific. I think the story going into that was the main thing there, and some parts of that match I really did enjoy. And then you had the greatest wrestling match ever at Backlash. Now, of course, was it the greatest wrestling match ever? Of course it wasn't. It was never going to be. But I think it was a pretty damn good match, if you ask me. And I think that's the best that they could have done. They made the best out of a difficult situation there. And I think they absolutely knocked it out of the park. I really enjoyed the match. I really enjoyed the psychology. And it's made me want to see another Edge and Randy Orton match, which I didn't want to see going into that. Which says a lot for how good that match was. And coming out of that match, Randy Orton was hotter than ever. He injures Edge once more. He tears Edge's bicep off the bone. He brings back the punt kick and punt kicks Edge in the skull. At the end of the match, after beating Edge, he tells Edge to go home to his wife and kids and say Uncle Randy said hi. This guy is an evil villain. And then the following night on Raw, he calls out a medically disqualified Christian, Edge's best friends. Christian had to retire due to concussions. He says, you know what, you want to have one more match? Why don't we have an unsanctioned match? Then he gets someone else to do his dirty work for him. He gets Ric Flair to low blow a medically disqualified man from behind and then punt kicks a man with concussions in the skull. That is a heel right there. That is a mega heel right there. That is psychotic. And then after he's done all this, after he's kicked the man with concussions in the skull, he then blames Christian. He says, this is all your fault. And then he's saying to the medical team, make sure you take care of him. Make sure you take care of him as they're putting him on the stretcher. Trying to be all sincere. You're saying take care of him after you've kicked him in the head. I mean, this guy's a psycho. This guy is a psycho. But the man, he is on a roll in 2020. Nobody can touch Randy Orton. So to have this match, have the babyface hero champion, who is a legitimate badass babyface heel champion who still has the will of the people behind him, which is difficult in modern day pro wrestling, against the guy who is the top heel in the company right now. He is this psycho. Nobody can touch him in the professional wrestling industry. To have this match is great. And I go back to earlier at the start of this year, as well, 2020, prior to Randy Orton getting on this role, prior to the whole Royal Rumble and prior to Drew McIntyre becoming the star prior to the feud with Edge with Randy Orton. At the start of 2020, prior to the Royal Rumble, Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre actually had a bit of a mini feud on Raw TV. There was a few episodes there where Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre faced off in segments, promos, and matches. And they had some great matches, by the way. They had absolutely tremendous chemistry in the ring. I even pitched on one, you probably see it on the video on this channel. At some point, I actually pitched that Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton should become a tag team at some point, because their chemistry, their humour, and their matches, they were so great. They were really, really good. You had McIntyre, I remember this match where you had Drew McIntyre just chopping the hell out of Randy Orton, which was hilarious. He did like a massive chop, and Randy Orton no-sold it for a second, and then began to sold it because he was hit that hard, which was hilarious. And it actually really benefited Drew McIntyre, I felt, at the time, because this is just as Drew McIntyre was really having this baby face, getting over with the audience. Oh, do you remember when there was an audience? Oh. But he was starting to get over more with the audience because this personality was starting to come out even more. And that was because of this Randy Orton sort of, I wouldn't even call it a feud, but these matches and these promos and these segments, it allowed this extra layer of personality and humour to come out of Drew McIntyre, which we hadn't really seen before. He'd always been the straight-laced Scottish psychopath crazy character. And I do really think this was the start of the rise of him becoming WWE Champion material and eventually becoming the WWE Champion. So Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre have great chemistry, without a shadow of a doubt. I think the match would be great. I think the promos will be great. Because Randy Orton so far, I mean, I would say he's batting almost 100. Every promo he has done this year has been phenomenal since the Royal Rumble. Since that turn on Edge, nobody can touch Randy Orton on the mic. Nobody can touch Randy Orton in terms of psychology. He has just been that damn good. So I really do hope that this match happens. I think it's the only match WWE can do, and I think it's the best match that WWE can do. So I'm really looking forward to it if it does indeed happen. If I had right now to stick my neck out on the line and say who would win, I would probably say Drew McIntyre probably retains, but that's nowhere near confirmed. I just think that I don't think Randy Orton doing jobs at this point hurts him at all. He's Randy Orton. He's Randy Orton. He doesn't lose anything from from losing a match to Drew McIntyre. He's bulletproof at this point, and he's a slimy heel. He can make excuses. He lost to Edge at WrestleMania, and he's got more momentum now than he ever did before. So that just shows how much a loss can actually do for a heel in the right context and in the right scenario. But who knows? Maybe the Viper has another title reign in his future. Who knows on that one? But of course, this is just one man's opinion. Are you interested in seeing a Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton match at SummerSlam? If so, who do you think would leave SummerSlam as the WWE Champion? Let me know in the comments section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to WrestleNews 365. You can do that by clicking the bottom right-hand corner of the screen right now, or if you wait a few seconds, there'll be a subscribe button at the end of this video for you to watch, along with another video for you to watch from WrestleNews 365. Be sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms that are on the screen right now. That's at 365Wrestle on Twitter and at WrestleNews 365 on Facebook or Instagram, so be sure to give us a follow there. Thank you very much for watching, listening, streaming, or however you've come across this video today, and I'll speak for you again very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.